we'll get started. And if people join in, they join in. And if not, then it'll be us three and we'll have a good time. So here we go.
Le premier arrivé au grand chêne.
Marie,
Oui.
raconte-moi ton enfance.
Quand j'étais petite,
Hmm
je rêvassais allongée dans l'herbe. J'imaginais ma vie et toutes les belles choses que je pourrais faire.
Je faisais pas tellement partie de tes rêves à ce moment-là.
Ah, mais toi, tu es comme un rêve inattendu. Et un rêve qui se réalise en plus.
Non. C'est toi mon rêve qui se réalise. Je veux dire que j'ai attendu longtemps.
Trop longtemps?
Ah oui.
Eh bien, trêve de reproches, monsieur Curie. Maintenant, je suis à toi.
Mais je te reproche rien. Il faut vivre sa vie comme un rêve. Et faire de ce rêve une réalité. Montre-moi comment boit une polonaise.
Comment boit une polonaise?
Ah oui. Ça peut pas être très compliqué.
C'est pas compliqué du tout. C'est rapide.
Oh oh.
Marie Skłodowska was born in Warsaw on November the 7th, 1867. Marie spends her childhood in an occupied country. Tsar Alexander II had decided to eliminate any sign of resistance in Poland, which disappears from the map of Europe during his reign. The Kingdom of Poland becomes the Vistula land. Russian is established as the official language, and Russian civil servants and teachers replace the Poles. Simply speaking Polish is considered a violation of the law. In such a situation, the Polish intelligentsia does everything to preserve Polish history and culture, especially by cultivating tradition within the family. Marie's father, Władysław, mathematics and physics teacher, is deputy head teacher of a school for boys. As a talented linguist, he reads Dickens' works in the original language, as well as prohibited classics of Polish literature to his children. His wife, Bronisława, is also a teacher and headmistress of a private school for girls. Bronisława Skłodowska, Marie's mother, suffers from tuberculosis. Despite many stays in a sanatorium, the disease develops, and the young Marie does not understand why her mother embraces her so seldom and never gives her a kiss.
Bardzo was kocham.
It seems that Marie never got over her mother's death. Her father enrolls Marie, aged 10, in a school for girls. Younger than the rest of her class, she quickly becomes the best in history, literature and French. Marie graduates brilliantly from high school and continues clandestine studies at the Flying University. However, in Warsaw under Russian occupation, a scientific career for a young woman is absolutely unthinkable. Marie and her sister Bronia decide to act together. First, Marie has to work for 5 years as a housekeeper to help her father and enable her older sister to finish her medical studies in Paris. Then Bronia, who meanwhile has married Kazimierz Dworsky, helps her to survive in Paris so that she might pass her exams at the Sorbonne.
Maniu, naprawdę niczego nie zapomniałaś? Enfin, powinienem teraz mówić do ciebie po francusku. Tu n'as rien oublié?
Non, papa. J'ai tout ce qu'il me faut.
To dobrze. Ton français est bon, mais peut-être insuffisant dans les domaines scientifiques.
Nie martw się, tato. Je vais le travailler. Je n'aime pas te laisser tout seul. J'ai le cœur gros, tu sais. Ces 3 années passeront vite. Tato, skończę studia i wrócę.
Zaraz przyjadę po twoje rzeczy. Naprawdę niczego nie zapomniałaś?
It is difficult to imagine that women in France in the 19th century were perceived as second-class human beings. Unreasonable, ignorant, only made for childbearing, looking after the family, or prostitution. Physics, biology, Latin and Greek are for boys only. High school programs for girls include mostly practical courses. The majority of French female high schoolers have no chance to attend the Sorbonne. However, foreign students are an exception. At that time, the Sorbonne had 12,000 students and a modest handful of 200 female students. In November 1891, Marie is the first woman to pass her entrance examinations at the Faculty of Physics and Chemistry. In spite of her sister, Bronisława's and husband's help, it is hard for Marie to make ends meet. In 1893, Marie obtains her bachelor's degree in physics and is offered a research contract in Gabriel Lippmann's laboratory. At the same time, she continues studying, and in 1894, she obtains her second bachelor's degree in mathematics.
Przyjdziesz do nas?
Nie.
Odpocznij, chociaż kilka minut.
Mam jeszcze jedno zadanie do rozwiązania.
Do rozwiązania to ja mam i to już niedługo.
Kto gra?
Paderewski. Taki genialny rudzielec. No chodź. Na chwilkę. Przedstawię was.
Naprawdę nie mam czasu. Wracaj do nich.
Pierre Curie, at the age of 22, had written, "Women, much more than men, love life for life's sake. Women of genius are rare." When Marie meets him in 1894, Pierre is already a physicist renowned for the discovery of piezo electricity. He has been working for 14 years as work supervisor at the School for Industrial Physics and Chemistry. Pierre is completing a thesis on magnetism. Marie meets him to learn about the topic. Henri Becquerel, who discovers radioactivity, will play an important part in Pierre and Marie's life. The school's director allows Marie to work on the site for her measures of magnetism. This is an exceptional agreement, allowing a woman to work in a laboratory. For 1 year, Pierre woos Marie, and at last, on July 25, 1895, after a small ceremony at the Sceaux Town Hall near Paris, with no rings and no blessing, Pierre and Marie become husband and wife. On September the 12th, 1897, Marie gives birth to a daughter, Irène. Irène will be awarded the Nobel Prize in 1935 with her husband Frédéric Joliot-Curie for the discovery of artificial radioactivity. Her second daughter, Eve, born on December the 6th, 1904, will become a pianist and writer.
Regarde, Pierre, viens voir.
Je t'en sors.
Non, justement pas. Tu vois, quand j'examine la composition des coefficients avec la deuxième équation, je ne retrouve pas du tout la même chose.
Tu permets?
Oui.
Donne-moi le livre de table, s'il te plaît.
Oui.
Tu t'es trompé d'une ligne. Ton résultat, il était bon.
Oh, c'est pas vrai.
On est fatigué. Je nous fais un café?
Oui, il en reste encore un peu.
Courage.
In the autumn of 1897, Marie chooses to study rays discovered by Becquerel as a thesis topic. Working on uranium, she discovers an abnormal behavior of uranium ores that are emitting far too much radiation. Puzzled, she decides to search for the source of this energy. Between 1898 and 1902, Marie, helped by Pierre, treats large amounts of pitchblende residuals in a former dissection room transformed into a shed to extract the milligrams required to measure the atomic mass of a new element. The lack of means makes this work extremely long and painful. The German chemist Wilhelm Ostwald writes, "It was a cross between a stable and a potato cellar, and if I had not seen the work table with the chemical apparatus, I would have thought it was a joke." On June 12, 1903, Marie defends her thesis on the new element radium at the Sorbonne. The examiners declare that the demonstrated results contribute more to scientific knowledge than any previous doctorate thesis. Marie becomes the first woman in history to be awarded a doctorate in physics. The existence of radium is at last demonstrated, and Marie defines its atomic mass.
Bronia nous envoie la recette du pot-au-feu.
Parfait. Je peux.
Oui, mais qu'est-ce qu'il se passe? Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Une très bonne nouvelle, mon amour.
Ah bon?
Une lettre de Becquerel et Berthelot. L'Académie t'attribue le prix Guénière d'un montant de 3800 francs.
Comment?
3800 francs, Marie. Cher monsieur Curie, il paraît résulter de ce travail curieux que les propriétés de la pêche blande seraient attribuables à un nouveau corps simple. Quel que soit l'avenir de cette vue scientifique, les recherches de madame Curie méritent les encouragements. Je vous félicite, ce passage il est pour toi, je vous félicite très sincèrement et vous prie de présenter mes respectueux compliments à votre femme, bien à vous, Henri Becquerel.
C'est moi qui ai obtenu le prix et c'est toi que Becquerel félicite.
Tu les connais tous aussi bien que moi. Surtout leur vision de la femme.
Peu importe. L'essentiel, c'est que nous partirons en vacances et je te ferai du pot-au-feu.
Oui.
L'histoire du prix Nobel de 1903 est assez complexe. C'est effectivement très frappant qu'elle va le recevoir, au fond, à peine 6 mois après sa thèse. Que les travaux qui sont couronnés dans ce prix Nobel de 1903 sont des travaux de physique. C'est le comité de physique qui va l'attribuer. Et de fait, il est décerné à Becquerel pour la découverte de la radioactivité et à Pierre et Marie Curie pour leurs travaux sur les radiations découvertes par Henri Becquerel. Or, on est à une époque où le radium a été découvert en 1998 par Pierre et Marie Curie, et à une époque où Marie a déjà fait, avec l'aide de Pierre, mais principalement et essentiellement elle, la séparation du radium et la masse atomique.
Maria Skłodowska była wybitną indywidualnością, niezwykle oryginalną, niezwykle silną kobietą, ale była także, i to nie umniejsza siły jej charakteru i oryginalności, była także wytworem czasów, w których żyła. Mam tu na myśli głównie myśl filozoficzną, którą określamy terminem pozytywizm. Oczywiście w tamtych czasach to był dominujący trend uczonych francuskich, węgierskich, który sprowadzał się do tego, żeby po pierwsze przywiązywać wielką wagę do nauk wtedy nazywanych naturalnymi, dzisiaj powiedzielibyśmy ścisłe i przyrodnicze, żeby promować wiarę w ludzki rozum, że oto świat poznawalny jest na drodze rozumowej, więcej nawet, że świat nie jest poznawalny w inny sposób, co jest tutaj bardzo istotne. Także wiara w nauki, dzisiaj nazywamy to empiryczne, czyli takie, które w każdej sprawie odwołują się do realnego świata, do empirii, do doświadczenia. To również była główna przesłanka myślenia o nauce u Marii Skłodowskiej-Curie.
Quand les archives du prix Nobel ont été ouvertes, on s'est aperçu que la proposition de l'Académie des sciences française ne comportait que le nom d'Henri Becquerel et de Pierre Curie. Extraordinaire. Et à vrai dire, difficile à comprendre, car un certain nombre d'académiciens précédemment avaient encouragé le travail de Marie Curie. Elle a eu des prix, des encouragements divers. Or, elle n'est pas proposée. On doit à un académicien suédois, Mita Gleffer, qui était un grand promoteur du travail des femmes en sciences, eh bien d'avoir averti Pierre Curie, qui a répondu, si c'est vrai qu'on envisage mon nom pour le prix Nobel sur la à propos des travaux sur la radioactivité, il est évident que mon épouse Marie Curie doit le partager.
Achète le journal, mort tragique du prix Nobel Pierre Curie. Pierre Curie, prix Nobel, mort dans un accident.
The French government offers Marie a pension. Marie refuses, claiming that she is young enough to work and support her family.
On voit très bien dans le petit journal qu'elle a écrit après la mort de Pierre Curie, la planche de salut. Il y a deux planches de salut. Ce sont ses enfants et le laboratoire qui sont associés étroitement.
On May the 23rd, 1906, Marie is nominated Head of Research at the Faculty of Sciences of the University of Paris, with a meagre yearly salary of 10,000 francs. In 1908, the Sorbonne authorities accord at last a full professorship to Marie. And although she is the only person in the world to teach radioactivity, she does not get any funds for a new laboratory. Marie then threatens to resign and announces her willingness to join the Pasteur Institute. This threat has the desired effect. The university purchases land and gives 400,000 francs to equip a laboratory dedicated to researches in physics and chemistry. In the neighbouring building, financed by the Pasteur Institute, Claude Regaud, professor in medicine, will conduct researches on the application of radiation, called the Curie's therapy. After the discovery of radium, the world is hit by radiomania. After World War I, industrialists and businessmen see an excellent opportunity to make a lot of money. Radium is very expensive and very rare in nature. Because it is thought that radium would become a remedy for everything, incurable diseases, fitness, aging, radium-based cream, light bulbs with radium, radium powder are all produced. Fortunately, with only microscopic quantities of the element. Of course, Marie Curie has nothing to do with this new madness. It is only in the mid-1920s that the danger from radioactivity begins to be taken seriously into account. In 1910, Marie, who follows Pierre's example by refusing the Legion of Honor, decides to apply for a seat at the French Academy of Sciences. The membership will enable her to receive funds for her researches. This is the moment when an attack is launched on her, coming from conservatives, misogynists, anti-Semites, as well as all kinds of xenophobes. The nationalist press suggests that Marie is Jewish and has no right to defeat her competitors who are pious Catholics. Some voices raise the claim that only Pierre was a genius and deserved the Nobel Prize. The Excelsior, first newspaper to print photo coverage, publishes a picture of Marie looking like a person wanted by the police. And this libelous press campaign is probably the cause of Marie's defeat against Edouard Branly by only one vote.
Et Marie Curie a donc manqué le vote d'une voix. Ça l'a très fortement perturbée. Je suis tout à fait convaincu que s'il n'y avait pas eu la campagne extérieure, xénophobe, antiféministe, et posant des problèmes qui n'avaient rien à voir avec la science, il est bien possible qu'elle se serait représentée et qu'elle aurait été plus tard membre de l'Académie des sciences. Donc début de l'année 1911, c'est ça. Après l'été va apparaître cet ensemble de lettres entre Paul Langevin et elle, qui montre une grande affinité entre eux, qui effectivement donne lieu à un scandale, sur lequel au début l'un et l'autre essayent d'arrêter les choses. Marie s'adresse aux journaux en disant « on n'est pas parler de ce genre de choses ». Puis, ils vont être amenés, et l'un et l'autre, à dire et à affirmer « oui, nous avons écrit des lettres, ces lettres, nous avons bien écrit des lettres, mais ces lettres ont été falsifiées ».
The newspaper Le Petit Journal publishes the article, The Affair of Madame Curie and Professor Langevin, describing the scientist as a husband stealer. L'Œuvre, Le Journal, L'Action Française spread the poison. Nobody mentions that Paul Langevin, father of 4 children, has been living apart from his wife for 1 year. Numerous duels set Marie's friends and her detractors against each other.
Vous voulez me voir, père?
C'est vous qui avez invité Madame Curie à venir vivre chez nous?
Oui, c'est moi.
Pourquoi vous mêlez-vous de cette affaire qui ne vous regarde en rien? Demain, je dois rencontrer cette dame pour lui demander de quitter le pays. Je suis sûr qu'elle trouvera une chaire en Pologne.
Mais écoutez,
Marguerite,
père,
sa situation est impossible à Paris. Je ne peux rien pour elle.
si tu cèdes à un mouvement bêtement nationaliste, si tu demandes à Madame Curie de quitter le pays, je te jure que de ma vie, je ne te reverrai jamais.
Le scandale, comme toutes les affaires que nous qualifierions de médiatiques aujourd'hui, le pic est passé. Un accord a été trouvé dans la famille Langevin, entre Paul Langevin et son épouse, pour régler le problème des enfants et arriver à une situation transitoire. Donc, ça n'est plus la chose dont le monde entier parle. Marie va aller en Suède, d'ailleurs en emmenant sa sœur et sa fille, ma mère Irène, qui a à cette époque-là 14 ans. Elle va aller en Suède, elle va recevoir son prix, elle va participer à un grand dîner en son honneur, organisé entre autres par des femmes suédoises. Et ça va être un grand succès, et tout le monde va reconnaître l'importance de son travail.
In her lecture in Stockholm, Marie specifies and underlines her part in the researches carried out with her husband. She says, "The chemical work that aimed at isolating radium as a pure salt and at characterizing it as a new element was carried out for the most part by me." She concludes, "During all these years, Pierre and I devoted ourselves to work concerning the common discovery of radium and polonium. I thus feel that I interpret correctly the intention of the Academy in assuming that this Nobel Prize awarded to me also pays homage to the memory of Pierre Curie." During the first 6 weeks of the First World War, 747,000 Germans and 854,000 French are wounded or killed. Marie notices that a lot of the wounded do not receive medical help quickly enough and die. The French army has only one mobile radiological unit. So Marie takes an accelerated course in anatomy and radiological techniques. Then she calls Minister Millerand and convinces him that he should provide ambulances on the first line of the front. General Joffre agrees, on condition that Marie herself finds the required cars. The French Women Union Fund buys the first Renault van. They are all transformed into mobile radiology units, with a radiologist technician and a driver. Soldiers called them little Curies. Marie now learns to drive, and soon she's driving this laboratory on 4 wheels. She succeeds in obtaining and equipping 20 ambulances. Thanks to Marie's initiative, almost 1 million soldiers were X-rayed and thousands of wounded could be treated. 17-year-old Irene assists her mother and later becomes chief of the radiology unit in a military hospital. In recognition of her acts, the French government awards Irene a medal. Marie receives nothing. In 1920, an American journalist, Missy Maloney, comes to Paris to interview Marie Curie. She finds out that Marie is a humble woman who works in a small laboratory and lives in a very simple flat that she pays for with the meager wages of a French professor. She learns that her laboratory has very little more than 1 gram of pure radium, whereas American laboratories have 50 grams at their disposal. And thus she has the idea to invite Marie to America. The journalist organizes a fund collection among American women in order to buy 1 gram of radium and offer it to the scientist. The publicity initiated by Missy Maloney, even if slightly far from the truth, because Marie was rather well off at that time, turns out to be very efficient. In 1 year, Missy Maloney raises $100,000. Missy Maloney made much of Marie's future trip to the United States, the high point of which has to be the gram of radium to be handed over by President Harding in the White House. Thus, following this news on April 1921, the French revue Je sais tout organizes a ceremony at the Paris Opera to pay tribute to the scientist, hero of French science. The president, Aristide Briand, as well as a crowd of authorities and scientists were present. Jean Perrin evokes her researches. Sarah Bernhardt reads the Ode to Madame Curie by Maurice Rostin, in which she is compared to Prometheus' sister. On May the 4th, Marie, with her daughters and Missy Maloney, who came especially to be with her on that trip, board the Olympic ship at Cherbourg. To Marie's great surprise, she is welcomed in New York by a crowd of people and an orchestra. Marie is invited to a series of meetings, among others by female colleagues, to encourage girls to pursue careers in science. On May the 20th, President Warren G. Harding presents Marie with a key, opening a green box imitating a case with radium inside. The real element has been stored safely in the fabric until Marie's trip back to Europe. Marie returns to America in 1929 to receive from the hands of President Hoover a check to buy another gram of radium, a gift from the Polish community in the USA for Poland. Arriving in Warsaw in 1932, Marie goes for a last solitary walk next to the Vistula River. With Professor Regaud and in the presence of the Polish President Ignacy Moszyński, a chemist by profession, Marie plants a tree in front of the Radium Institute, which would surely not have emerged without her.
Surtout ne dites jamais que Marie Curie a sacrifié sa vie à la science. C'est exactement, j'en suis convaincue, à l'opposé de ce qu'elle pensait. D'ailleurs, elle a répondu à des questions de ce genre, en disant « j'ai consacré beaucoup de temps à la science parce que j'aimais la science, parce que j'aimais la recherche ». Tout est là. Elle a des phrases à propos de la science qui a une grande beauté. Elle a de ces mots qui paraissent même puérils à certains côtés. Le scientifique dans son laboratoire et pas seulement un technicien qui manipule des appareils, etc. C'est comme un enfant devant un conte de fées. Ça veut dire qu'elle-même se voyait, se ressentait comme l'enfant devant un conte de fées.
I think that Marie Curie was an amazing and inspirational woman, and actually a woman who overcame enormous obstacles in her career. It was not expected that a woman would be able to lead a research laboratory, for example, yet she did that. And she made fundamental discoveries that really changed the course of science.
Je sais que beaucoup de malades aujourd'hui lui doivent la vie, qu'elle a quand même un peu donné la sienne, et voilà, que la recherche, que les femmes dans la recherche est une chose troublante et belle, que c'est une femme d'une grande générosité, d'une intelligence lumineuse. Voilà, je pense qu'on lui doit beaucoup, que nous tous lui devons beaucoup, et que c'est heureux que cette femme soit venue chez nous, et qu'elle y ait trouvé à la fois l'amour et la science.
Is Marie Curie close to me? Am I like Marie Curie? That's the question everybody been asking. And at first, I say no, because she was an amazing scientist. First woman to win a Nobel Prize. After 100 years, still the only woman to win a Nobel Prize in two different areas of science, chemistry and physics. Come on, to say that I'm walking in the footsteps of Marie Curie, that's amazing. To use our names in the same sentence, that's incredible. At the same time, you know, we are mothers, we are women, we are doing science, and somehow we're doing okay and able to balance those two things. So in that way, we are very similar. But you know, she was an amazing lady. If I could be, you know, just 5% of what Marie Curie was, I would be satisfied. That's just too much.
tromper d'une ligne.
Wow, that was really different.
That was good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's good, but it was different.
Yeah, it was a little bit more artsy than I thought it was going to be. So, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a little bit more about her. I didn't know that they had a whole scandal that they tried to pin her on for the professor and all of that. I knew her husband died, but I didn't know that that happened. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I think she scared men in general in
Yeah.
her field just because of her brilliance.
Definitely. I wish I liked sciences more, but I really am not a fan.
I can go there with you, even though I'm married to a science teacher or a retired science teacher. But yeah, but it was really funny because I was like, oh, Madame Curie, because that's what she was called. But so interesting. And such a hard worker. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and she brought her kids everywhere, and for her to go onto the front lines with the like most unstable like little mini radioactive ultrasounds, like, oh, I don't know how
It's
to
a little
feel.
scary. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, well, thanks for joining me today. Had a good time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you both for being here, and I'm gonna stop recording and we'll enjoy the rest of the day. We have a couple more things coming up next week. Is Dr. Jane Goodall, and then after that is Venus Williams, and I can't think right now. My brain is tired.
Yep. It's very interesting. Can't wait to hear about both Jane Goodall and Venus Williams, two very different kinds of people.
So yeah, tell your friends, tell your other people at the county, and I'll hopefully have a bigger crowd next time. But thank you both for being here.
Thanks, Serena.
All right.
Have a great afternoon, ladies.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.